How's it going out there, everyone? Picard actor Patrick Steward teases idea for new Star Trek movie. This is W.F.S, your doctor, and I wanted to talk about today a new article that was released from Screen Rant, where Picard Patrick Steward teased the idea of a new Star Trek movie. As of right now, Paramount is pretty much not keen on that idea at all. And I guess it all depends on what happens with season 3, whether or not it gets a good review and good following from the fans. I mean, season 1 and 2 was such a problem for fans all over the world, as far as I understand it. And I wasn't exactly impressed with it, but right here, Patrick Stewart is talking about the idea of maybe another movie. The Screen Rant article basically talks about how, at a recent interview, Picard, or rather Patrick Stewart, talked about how the final season of the show will end with a big bang. It has the original cast from The Next Generation. And it says right here, The Next Generation cast: Brent Spiner, Jonathan Frakes, Michael Dorn, LeVon Burton, Gates McFadden, and Maria Sitz all have main roles. Spiner will portray Lore, Data's evil twin brother, and one of Star Trek The Next Generation's most popular villains, or favorable villains, as Star Trek Picard prepares to go out with a bang. Stewart teased there could be even more. Now, in the article, it talks about how Star Trek has finally delivered on a DS9 Season 8 promise. Now, I don't know about you, and I'm not exactly sure what that means. At New York's Comic-Con, Star Trek Picard panel, in which Screen Rant was in attendance, Stewart teased the idea of a new Star Trek movie. The actor was fairly vague, but he indicated the door had not been closed on the possibility of another Star Trek film. Check out his statement below. Okay, well, let's go below and Patrick Stewart was quoted as saying, "I understand there are Paramount Plus people here and Paramount Pictures. We could still make a movie." That's not saying much. And again, it all depends on what happens with season 3, whether it is liked, how well it's received, critics' reviews, and the big fear of what's happening over there at Amazon with Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. Will Picard get the same thing? A ratings bombing from the fans? What makes Stewart's tease of another Star Trek movie so intriguing is that there are several ways in which Star Trek Picard Season 3 could set up another film. After all, it is reuniting the entire The Next Generation cast, with the exception of Data, of course, thus opening the door to further continue the crew's legacy. There has been speculation about potential spin-offs with such characters as Captain Worf, Will Riker, or even Data, Spiner. Really? Data? I thought they made that quite clear, that Data was dead. Also, Star Trek Picard's decision to create an alternate timeline essentially rewrote Star Trek history, opening up a nearly endless possibility in the future. Needless to say, Star Trek Picard Season 3 could contain a lot of material that could prove fruitful to another Star Trek movie. What do you think about all that? I mean, another timeline? What timeline? I mean, I know that in Season 2, Q talked about there were various timelines, but I don't really know of any alternate timeline that they're referring to here. It remains to be seen if another Star Trek movie with Picard actor Patrick Stewart will be made. It was only just recently revealed that Star Trek IV had been delayed indefinitely by Paramount. The film would have been the 4th installment in the Star Trek reboot film series starring Chris Pine, which stemmed from losing director Matt Shakman to Marvel's Fantastic Four reboot. However, Stewart's teasing another movie shortly after the Star Trek IV setback could be a hint of Paramount exploring new directions for the Star Trek film franchise. Only time will tell how Star Trek Picard Season 3 could set up the next screen chapter when it premieres on February 16th. Well, that was the article, my friends. I mean, what do you think about the whole thing? Could this final season of Picard set up a new movie? Again, not too sure about that. In my previous video, I did talk about the final season, and the trailer that was attached to it. It looked good, dark, but it looked like a Star Trek epic adventure. A lot of space adventures happening. It's definitely going to be interesting to see how these characters play out and whether or not it will work toward a movie. Now, one thing I will say that is a bit interesting is that in the article it did talk about how they delivered on a Season 8 of Deep Space Nine. The only thing that I know of and that I have seen so far is the Lower Decks, Star Trek Lower Decks, in which they visited Deep Space Nine and they had Quark and Kira. If that was their idea of visiting Deep Space Nine for Season 8, man, that's just robbing us of something special, because I absolutely love that show. Well, I'm W.F.S, your doctor. Please comment, click the like button, and if you like the content and how I'm presenting it, please subscribe. The more fans I have, the better the content and the more I can give you. Live long and prosper, my friends, and God bless.